Hello and welcome to Reality Blows. My name is Ashley Wick-Roberts.
I'm NickMaritato.
And this is a podcast all about reality television.
That it is, Ash.
And we have so much to talk about with you today.
Guys, it's another crazy Monday morning. Y'all are on the treadmill, just trying to get to work.
Yeah, running to work on the treadmill.
Every single day. And let me ask you a question. Do you think you're doing yourself good by running to work on a treadmill? You ain't getting nowhere.
You're just staying in place, my friend.
But what are we doing? Well, we're in your ears talking about reality TV.
And also us and our lives.
Our lives. Our lives.
Nick and I had a very exciting weekend. We started off on Friday doing nothing. I don't remember Friday at all. Friday's not the point. Saturday is the point, okay? The point of this weekend was Saturday.
Friday we went to a nice holiday party.
Oh, that's right. That is
Come on,
true.
don't.
I forgot about the holiday party. I was so focused on Saturday. We had to wake up on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. for a day of Christmas activities, a holiday extravaganza, you might say. So we went to this holiday party on Friday night thinking we're going to have to go home early, be in bed by 10. We stayed out till like midnight having fun.
Well, what time did we actually get home? Like 11?
Midnight.
Oh, midnight.
Yeah, because when we were dropping Zach off, I was like, oh, it's 11:45.
Yeah. See, I think the thing is, no matter what time I would have gotten home, I'm not too sure if I would have gotten any more than 4 to 5 hours worth of sleep.
Because of the anxiety over the day ahead?
Not really. I just don't sleep at night. I don't go to bed at night.
Right. Nick likes to wear himself out until around 3 a.m. when he has no other choice but to retire to the bed.
Now, I would get on your case for hyperbole or exaggeration, if you will, but it's a little bit. I would say on average, I go to bed between 12:45 and 2:15.
You've gone to bed before 12:45. You've gone to bed before 1 3 times this year, I would say.
3 times?
Yeah, you never go.
No, I'll go, I would say once a month, maybe.
Nick and I have very different sleep philosophies. I come from the camp of you need to prepare yourself for sleep. So even if you're not tired, you still like do your things, your sleep stuff, and then you lay down and it even if you're not tired, it kind of tricks your mind into going to sleep because you're like, okay, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I put on my eye mask. You do all the rituals around sleep, and then it makes your brain goes into, oh, now it's time to go to sleep, and then you usually go to sleep. Nick, like I said, likes to wear himself out.
I come from camp, I don't wanna go to bed. So
he comes from camp, watch TV until you fall asleep, and that's when you know it's time to go to sleep.
Well, I think with the invention of Bluetooth headphones and podcasts, it's allowed me to go to bed before I totally feel super tired. But the problem is I do feel tired, but I am afraid to go to bed because then that means my night is over and that means my morning is close and all of a sudden it's the next day. Do you understand what kind of anxiety that is?
I do, and I would agree with you, except for the fact that you are a great morning person.
I do like the mornings.
You are so happy in the morning. You're a delight to be around in the morning.
I do like the mornings.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're running from.
But the way you say that is as if at night, I'm not a delight.
I'm just saying there's a big difference between the morning and night.
Wait a minute. Now it's a big difference?
It's a huge, noticeable difference between how you are in the morning and how you are at night.
I have an issue with the evening. Because
you don't like the evening.
The evening to me means the day is coming to an end, and you now have to reflect on how you spent that day and also the rest of your life. And how
you feel too much pressure in the evening? Is that what you're saying?
No, I feel like the evenings to me, it's just like, the day is over. Stores are closed. Like, what am I gonna? I can't just be here right now. You know what I mean?
Forced to be present.
I don't like the idea that the day is over because that means I can't get anything else out of my day.
Yeah.
And inevitably feel like a failure for that particular day.
Yeah, we were actually talking in this party about how odd it is that we decided to be comedians because we both don't like being out at night. Like you were saying, you don't like nighttime in general. And I personally, as soon as the sun goes down, I am ready to retire.
I would say that when there is a show, even though I have a show I'm performing at night, even though I inevitably am filled with incredible anxiety due to having to, perform and getting there and being there. Really, it's not the performing that I'm afraid of. It's the being there that I don't like, that makes me antsy. And so, yeah, I do feel like, I feel like there's a big difference between wanting to perform and like not liking the evenings, because I really don't like idle time in the evening. I don't like to go out to like a bar, because then it's like, oh, what am I going to say to these people? I don't know what to do. Like,
we're not bar folks.
Yeah, we're not really big bar people. I would say that I was at one time in my life.
I 100% was. I memean, really, my 20s, when I first got to New York, like from early to mid to quarter end of my 20s. I'll say around 28, I started shutting down the party. But I loved to go out. And I remember when I started comedy, I was like, I can't believe this is so perfect for me, because I like to be out at night. And this is exactly what I have to do for this job, is to be social at night. This is great. And now, I'm however old I am, it's a mystery. And I think to myself, God, I never need to go out at night again. Isn't that funny how that works? Adults warn you. They tell you it's going to happen, and you say, no, Grandpa, never. Not me. Not me,
Grandpa.
Old man.
I'm going to be at them clubs every night.
Every night. And then you...
Fist bumping, fist pounding.
And then you just want to stay home. You buy a puzzle with your loved one.
And don't open it up for 2 weeks.
We got to do that puzzle tonight.
That is another thing that we're dealing with. We have a puzzle that we've yet to open.
It's very cool, though. It's an Edward Gregory. What is that? Is that his name? Gory? I think it's Gory. You guys might remember it from your childhood, that particular artist. Listen, we're going to do the freaking puzzle, okay?
Yeah. But, it's not necessarily, having anything to do with what happened this weekend, because honestly on Saturday it was an entire day. I mean, me and Ashley's Saturday was, if you like days and you want to maximize what you can do in one single day, well then you should take a note out of what happened on Saturday, because boy oh boy, Ash, did we have a Christmas adventure.
Wow. Okay, so this is now, I'm pretty sure, a locked and loaded tradition for Nick and I and his family for the rest of our lives, it feels like, even though it did just start last year. Last year was the first day of it. It is a all-day Christmas adventure in New York City with Nick and his dad, Steve, and his sister, Gabby, and me. And what we do, last year we started with meeting Santa at Macy's. So you go to Santaland, you got to get an appointment. I don't know if you guys, non-New York listeners, if you can just go to the mall and see Santa where you are, but where we are, you have to make an appointment months in advance. And then you get in line, you go through a whole, it feels like a Disney sort of Epcot-ish setup. So you get on this train, and I'm using finger quotation marks here. You take the train to the North Pole. Then you're in Santaland. You see all the elves slaving away on the toys. You walk through the mythical woods, and then you go to Santa's cottage, and you sit on that old man's lap, and you tell him what you want for Christmas.
Wow, Ash. Perfect.
After that, last year we went to Radio City and we saw Rockefeller Center.
Yes.
And we saw the tree. We saw the people ice skating. We went and had a little holy moment at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Then we went to this fun New York deli that had like a hot bar. We got some food. We watched the characters from Times Square, the people dressed up like Mickey Mouse or the Grinch. We watched them on their break, taking off their costumes and eating the pasta from the hot bar. Then we went and we saw Aladdin on Broadway. After that, we went to the Union Square Craft Market. And then after that, we finished the day at Pete's Tavern with a dinner. It was a perfect day last year.
Now, Pete's Tavern, if you guys don't know what that is, that's where O. Henry used to hang out.
It's the oldest restaurant in the city of Manhattan.
Is that true?
Yeah. Wow. At least they say that. But then there's another restaurant that says that. And then there's some, it has claims.
I know. Maybe I got confused with McSorley's. McSorley's is like the oldest bar in New York City. And
Pete's Tavern's old.
Pete's Tavern, the reason why I guess it's a Christmassy thing is because they just put a whole bunch of like Christmas decorations and lights. And by the way, if you are a New York City business owner, specifically a bar and or restaurant, just go ahead, go the full 9. Deck out your bar with holiday stuff. I mean, go crazy with the lights.
You'll be packed.
People just show. I mean,
people will wait in line to see those dumb lights.
Really, people just want to stare at lights and drink beer around Christmas lights.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane and intense. So I don't know why not every bar in this town doesn't do it.
And last year, like I said, it was sort of the perfect day, and it culminated at Pete's Tavern. The finishing touch was on the fact that Pete's Tavern was so packed in the front. They let us in the back door into Pete's Tavern. We felt
like, hey, come on over here.
Yeah.
All right, come on, sit down. I got a table for you.
Exactly. We could not have felt more like regulars. So this year, we decided to recreate the magic of last year, but we wanted to switch it up a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to go see Aladdin on Broadway again because that's just too much Aladdin. So we picked Radio City Music Hall Christmas Spectacular.
So what happened really was my dad, who sets all this up, by the way, Steve. Big shout out to Steve. Don't think he listens to this podcast.
Big shout out to Steve.
But big shout out to Steve.
Definitely doesn't listen to the pod.
He asked us if we were still doing it. And he goes, he sets all of this stuff up. He got us tickets last year to Aladdin. He was like, hey, listen, my dad works for Disney. And he's like, hey, I get a discount on Frozen tickets. You want to see Frozen on Broadway? And I haven't seen the movie Frozen.
I know nothing about it.
I don't think,
except for that song.
My sister, Gabby, she's in her 20s. I mean, it's not exactly a nostalgia trip to go see a Broadway show, although it would be, I'm sure it'll be incredible, but we don't know any of the references. We don't know the songs, the characters, none of that. So I was like, let's not do it. And then I think I said, let's go see the Radio City Christmas show, the Christmas Spectacular, because I think I may have gone when I was a baby, very young, and hadn't gone again. And as everybody knows, I'm turning 30 this year, so
oh my God,
it would be nice to sort of just see it with adult eyes,
relive your youth before you turn 35. And
hey, I am not turning 35. I am not turning 35.
And I'd never seen the Christmas Spectacular. And so we all decided, let's go do the Radio City Music Spectacular.
Christmas Spectacular.
Whatever. We were like, let's do it. And so this year that was going to replace Aladdin, but everything else was going to be the same. Okay. We're still going to go see Santa at Santaland. We're still going to go to St. Patrick's. We're still going to do Pete's Tavern, all of that. And it just so happened that getting tickets to this Radio City thing was quite an adventure for Steve.
Well, I think it just takes a long time to sort of get some seats together, have them be decent seats.
He had to do a raffle.
I think you have to enter a raffle. It's a lot of stuff. So cut to him hitting us up with an email being like, I got the tickets. We're going on December 8th. So mark your calendars. Make sure that you're out in front of Radio City at 8 a.m. Just make sure that you're there at 8 a.m. sharp, and we'll be good. Okay, see you then.
And we were like, wait a minute, what? Because last year we had our appointment with Santa at 10 a.m. We had to get in line by 9:30. That seemed way too early. Now this year we have to be there at 8 a.m.
So we were there at 8 a.m.
We got there.
Nick
woke us up. Props to Nick, who is able to wake me up. And he also got us a bunch of breakfast goodies.
Yeah. I got us all set up so we didn't have to worry about it. We got there. We got there on time with a little time to spare.
But we did. This was the beginning of the day going downhill. Nick forgot something pretty important on the way to the Rockefeller. Radio City.
You could say I forgot it. We could also say that you didn't remind me, but either or, I guess.
Since you're an adult and you're responsible for yourself, Nick forgot his Santaland pin.
Last year, when you go see Santa at Macy's, they give you a little pin.
And we should say this is the iconic Macy's on 35th Street.
34th.
Whatever.
Miracle on 34th Street. This is, by the way, for any kids who listen out there, this is the real Santa you see. Most times when you're in a mall, these are Santas that are kind of renting out the space, and I guess Santa allows it to happen.
Not the Macy's Santa.
No, Macy's Santa's real. And you know that because the line takes about an hour and a half to get to him. So that's how you know it's real. Mm-hmm. Yes, when you're done visiting Santa, they give you a little button, and that button commemorates the year that you saw Santa. So I made sure that I got my button ready to go so I can wear my button when I see Santa again, and he can know that I'm cool.
Yeah.
And what happened, Ash?
I put my button on, and because I also saved mine, and then we left the house, and then we were on the train, and I was like, "Where's your button?"
I didn't have my button, did I, Ash?
No, Nick forgot his button.
Yeah, I forgot it, but maybe when you grabbed your button, you could have yelled over, "Hey, don't forget your button."
I could have, but I didn't.
Why?
Because I was trying to leave the house on time.
Oh, yeah, it would have taken us
You
taken
were
us a long
yelling
time
at
for
me.
Yeah, well, you should
You
yell
were
back.
yelling at me
You should
that I
yell
was
back.
being late, and so I was thinking phone, keys, wallet. I was trying to just grab everything I could in a frenzy.
When you
because
got that
Nick
button-
is standing there going, "We should have left 10 minutes ago. We should have left 10 minutes ago."
And we
Meanwhile,
should've.
we get there 15 minutes early.
Yes, and that's because of me and my ranting and raving.
Nick freaks me out. Every time we have to leave the house at a certain time, he yells at me that we're late for like 20 minutes. Like I'm standing there, I'm literally plopping in my contacts. I've been awake for 5 minutes, and Nick's like, "We should be out the door by now." We always get there early, and then I'm looking at him like, I still got a toothbrush hanging out of my hair. You couldn't let me get ready?
Well, first of all, stop combing your hair with a toothbrush. That's number one.
It
Okay?
was supposed to mean that I was in a frenzy.
Whatever. But, I mean, not to digress too much here, Ash, but
Yeah.
would you consider yourself a timely person?
So when we realized that Nick has left his pen,
Oh, you don't want to go there, huh?
we realized Nick has left his button. He's like, "Well, that's it. The day's over. It's been ruined." And he gets in a little bit of a kerfunkel, kerfunk.
Yeah, sure. I know. It's a kerfunkel.
And then when we get to Radio City, we're early, so we decide to get some coffee. All the coffee places are closed except for the Dunkin' Donuts underground.
God bless Dunkin' Donuts.
So we go back into the subway, and we're having our coffee in the Dunkin' Donuts. For the subway's Dunkin' Donuts, so we are.
Hey, listen, if you're going to get
underground.
Dunkin' Donuts in New York City, you're not going to get better Dunkin' Donuts unless you're underground, all right, by a subway. It's got to be the subway fumes have to sort of be garnishing your cold brew in the morning.
I'm enjoying the heat underground because it is incredibly cold outside. And then Nick's like, "We got to go up there. We got to go up there and wait." Some guy's looking at me weird. And
Well, listen, I haven't had good experience with people looking at me strange underground the past month or so.
that's true. Nick almost got in a fight with someone about 4 weeks ago.
On my birthday.
Yeah.
On my birthday. I almost
Yeah.
had to punch a guy. Anyway, listen. Let's not take away from the Christmas spectacular. So we meet my dad and my sister, and they're all happy. We're all happy.
Everyone's so happy. We take a lot of pictures in the Radio City Music Hall, like the little lobby that's so pretty.
It did take us about 40 minutes to get inside of this place. That's why they had us line up an hour early,
Yeah.
I assume. I mean, honestly, the Radio City Music Hall staff needs to figure out how to not make it some sort of like cattle corralling.
Get your shit together.
I mean, wow, it's wild. I mean, what they have to deal with, I guess, every single day. But
yeah.
So what's interesting is, so we go to see a 9 a.m. show, and they have 6 shows a day. Now,
Wow.
if you don't know what this Radio City Christmas Spectacular is, it's the Rockettes. That is who's performing. And you got to know who the Rockettes are. Ashley, you're not from New York City. Did you know who the Rockettes were before you moved to New York City?
I did, but I think I associated them with a sports team. Are they not associated with the sports team?
They are not.
Okay, so I knew of them as the faint, like to me.
Unless you're talking about the infamous Houston Rockettes.
What?
The Houston Rockets are a basketball team.
Oh.
I was making a joke.
I just remember I always knew the Rockettes as the in the line throwing the legs up. That
Doing the
classic
can-can?
move. Yeah, that's what I thought of when I thought of the Rockettes. And this show is basically the Rockettes in a series of sort of unrelated vignettes. I mean, they all follow the same theme of being Christmas based, but there's not like an overarching narrative to these scenes. So it's, I would say, like 6 or 7 different scenes that
Yeah, they're little musical interludes, or I guess they're just little musical pieces.
Yeah, and the star of the show is Santa.
Santa, you ever heard of him?
He's hosting, so he comes out, he welcomes us, and then
Hey, hello, boys and girls. Welcome. It's mighty early, but I'm sure you don't mind. Meanwhile, we're like dying. It's like, so yes, he's the host of the show. He takes us through all these vignettes.
we had great seats. Probably the best seats I've ever had anywhere. I mean, they were incredible. We were like 12 rows away from the stage.
By the way, if you guys know of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation movie that everybody loves. You
Yeah.
love it, right?
I love it.
That's where my Santa comes from. My
Oh, it's a
impression of
good
Santa.
one.
He goes like this. Ready? Here's my impression. Oh, Mama. That's my impression of him. But he's a boy with a red nose. He can help us. That's not a line from the show, from the movie. But I digress once again. So we go through all this thing. How did you like the Rockettes? How'd you like the show?
I liked it. It was entertaining. It wasn't. It was clearly for kids.
It is a kid's thing.
It's a kid's thing. And apparently, I had to go and go to the bathroom. Apparently, I went at the worst possible time.
Ashley.
Everyone in the group let me know. Except for your sister, Gabby, that was like, ignore them. It was fine. You didn't miss anything.
You missed the Santa number.
Yeah.
That's when there was all the Rockettes dressed up like Santa. And they were all over the theater. And they were doing so much fun stuff. Dancing and singing and doing some Christmas. And you missed it because you had to what?
I had to pee.
You had to pee, Ash. You had to pee. Later in the day, I thought it was funny when my dad was like, how old are you? You got to pee through things? Sometimes you got to get up and pee? Like, my dad was disappointed in you that you got up and missed some of it.
Well, later, Gabby was like, I had to pee too, but I knew that if I got up, it would have sent him over the edge.
Listen, when my dad is setting a thing for us to do and you don't want to miss any of it, I tell you, when you got up and you're like, excuse me, I have to pee, I was like, oh, shit. And I did look over at my dad at that moment, and when he got up, he looked at you like, what? Why are you're standing over me to tell me something? You're not clearly don't want me to get up to move.
It took him a second.
And then so he got up and then he sat back down. I looked over at him. He was like, he adjusted his shirt. I saw him turn over to my sister and mouth something like, where could she possibly be going? And then you come back.
Poor Gabby, though, who has to go to the bathroom. And it's like, fuck, Ashley went to the bathroom. Now I definitely can't go to the bathroom.
She's learned. You hold it.
So after Radio City Music Hall, we went to the tree at Rockefeller Center, and it was fine. And then we went to
if you guys, this is the other thing. This is the big Christmas tree, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. You got to go to 30 Rock, look at this Christmas tree, and guess what? It's a big old tree.
Yeah, we took our pictures in front of it.
You stand near it, you look at it, you go, oh, look at it. It's so big.
Fun fact, Nick's dad, who is part of the electricians union, worked on that tree one year and put the Christmas lights around that tree and put the star on the tree.
Way back in the day, my daddy put that star on that tree.
One of those years. And then we went to St. Patrick's. Now, last year, St. Patrick's was... it was the first time we'd ever gone, and I'm trying to remember highlights of it. I think the highlight was when the guy told your dad to take his hat off.
Yeah, my dad had a hat on that day, and the guy in St. Patrick's said, sir, hat off.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I had told you to take your hat off.
Now, I saw a person, a security guard, tell a man to take his hat off. They allow women to wear the hats.
Yeah.
They allow women. What is the significance of that?
I don't know.
Because it's not like the women had big hats with fruit in the top, like they were some sort of
church
special hat. No, these were toboggans.
I don't know. It's the same thing in the South. Women wear very big hats at church, and men cannot wear hats.
It would be one thing if these women were wearing those hats, because I don't know if you guys been to St. Patrick's Cathedral, but around this time of year, it becomes basically like the tree that you
It's a tourist attraction.
It's a tourist. I mean, there's hundreds of people milling about.
Yeah.
There's a gift shop. There's security cameras all over the place. And it is maybe the most beautiful church ever. I mean, the thing is
really gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
There was a proposal that happened in front of us, but we didn't really catch it until it was over and everyone started cheering. But it did happen 10 feet away from us.
There were a lot of people in there. Cheering is a bit much for that. People kind of golf clapped at it.
Golf clapped.
What did you think when you saw this person being proposed to in front of a bunch of strangers at St. Patrick's Cathedral?
I didn't see the proposal. I just saw him get up and then people clapping, and I was like, oh, they just got proposed to. I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of a public proposal personally, but I do like to be reminded about love,
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
So we sat in a pew for a little bit, and then when that got old, we got up and left.
We had some trail mix. We really refueled at the church.
We did eat trail mix in the church. Is that wrong?
Is
Haven't
that
been there in a
sin?
while. Okay.
Then we went to the deli that we went to last year.
Yes.
Now this deli, like I said, is it's sort of famous because the Times Square character workers will come there and they'll have their break there because it's 2 stories, which is pretty rare for a New York City deli to have a upstairs seating area. And so we got our hot bar stuff, and then we went up there, and Gabby had gone to Disney World over Thanksgiving. She brought Nick and I back mystery packs.
Yes, of pins.
Of pins. If you know that I'm anything about me, you know that I'm a big pin head. And so we we looked at our pins. That was fun. And we all got food at this place. Gabby and I got from the hot bar. Nick got like a Quest bar or something.
Yeah.
And then Steve got...
He got a parfait. Parfait that seemed to be possibly packaged either by this deli or maybe another deli that kind of sells to this deli, but it wasn't like an official...
It was a suspect parfait.
Yeah, you know, my dad, he's been working in Manhattan for 40, 30 years. You know,
yeah.
I figure, and he knows these places.
Right.
I figured he kind of knew the ins and outs of what you do and don't order at a glorified bodega, a deli.
Yeah.
It was big, and they do have a lot of hot bar stuff, and
he got the parfait.
He ate the parfait.
And he took a bite. The first bite he took the parfait, he goes, "Ugh, this is a little too sweet."
A little sweet.
But his first reaction to that was, "Ugh."
It wasn't like what you do when you eat something and it's sweeter than you thought. It wasn't that reaction, because when I eat something and it's sweeter than I thought, I go, "Oh wow, this is really sweet."
Yeah.
Like it's something that I feel dangerous eating, but still I enjoy.
Yeah.
That wasn't his reaction.
Not
it was
at
kind of
all.
like a guttural. I don't know. It's too sweet, and it was like, okay, well, all right, well, we'll do that. And he hadn't eaten anything up until this point. That's
Right.
another thing about my dad. He doesn't eat. I think he just eats at night. He'll have like a yogurt and a banana during the day, and he doesn't eat, much to the dismay of everyone around him, because you feel like you're putting him out if you're gonna go and eat a Quest bar somewhere. Like to sit down and have
If you need to use the bathroom or eat food, don't do it around Steve or on Steve's time. Don't do it on Steve's
He's
clock.
got a day planned.
Yeah. So we decided that at that point we're going to start heading towards Macy's. We walked through Times Square. We saw the crowds. Steve had also been very excited about a peppermint mocha he had heard about.
My sister had a peppermint mocha at some point. I guess my dad got wind of it, thought the idea was great, was talking about it quite a bit. We left there, kind of milled about in Times Square a bit. Then we made our way to a Starbucks for my dad's peppermint mocha.
That's right. We all refueled on caffeine, and then we headed to Macy's. We looked in the window display of Macy's, and that's when Gabby realized that a bird had shit on Nick's coat.
Forgot about this point, guys. Totally forgot about it till right now, and it still irks me. Some fucking bird took a shit on my jacket.
His brand new jacket.
I bought a jacket at H&M, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not big on buying coats. I bought 2 coats last year. I was about 40 pounds lighter. I had lost about 100 plus pounds. I needed new coats. I bought new coats. Since then, I've gained a little weight back, but I bought those coats at my slimmest, and they were fitting me nice and tight the way I liked it. Tried the coats on when it started getting cold here in New York City. They fit. They're a little too tight.
Yeah.
Just a little uncomfortable. One of them is a big snow coat parka. Can't really break that out until it snows. I tried it on. It works. It's fine. When it starts getting crazy with the snow, if it ever does, I'll break it out. The other one was a nice Gap coat that was kind of like a duster trench thing. I don't know. You've seen it. What would you call that coat, Ash?
The wool coat?
The wool coat.
It's just a nice, like, businessy wool coat, that you would wear to a funeral or a meeting.
That's my bag, baby. Meetings about funerals and funerals about meetings.
Anyways, a bird had put shit on Nick's coat, and
Anyway, I had to buy a new coat at H&M. It was cheap. It's only $50. It was cheap.
But he bought it like 4 or 5 days prior.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just a little shit. This was probably the biggest shit I've ever seen.
This motherfucking bird must have just eaten a parfait from a deli, because it shit all over me.
Yeah, and it was very obvious. It's
Yeah.
not something you could hide. It was bright white. It was like the size of a handprint almost.
Ash, come on, you're making me feel bad.
A child's handprint.
So I went and I bought a bottle of water from a hot dog vendor. I asked him for a napkin, and I kind of shittily just, no pun intended, just...
He tried to clean it up. It didn't work.
I wiped it away. It wasn't working. Then I was basically, at this point on, my day was ruined.
Yeah.
I get very neurotic about stuff like this. I can't let it go.
Yeah.
So we went into Macy's. We found the bathroom. I went up. I did the best I could. Macy's bathroom does not have any paper anywhere, so I had to sort of use my I had to use my hand to wipe it down and then just run it under. There was no scrubbing available. Also, because it's the holiday season and it was a Saturday in Macy's.
Chaos, folks.
It was chaos. I mean, there was a line for the men's bathroom, which is pretty rare in a situation. And I had to wait in line to do this because even though everybody was waiting for the urinals, I still felt like people were going to look at me crazy if I cut the line just to use the sink.
Babe, I didn't know that. You should have cut the line.
No, because I know how I would react. Yeah. So I try to avoid that situation because I was like, I'll wait in this. It wasn't that long.
Okay.
But I waited till somebody to leave a urinal so I could go straight to the sink.
Meanwhile, Nick's scrubbing the shit off his coat. I'm sleeping on a couch in the Macy's home department because that's just if you have an opportunity to lay down, you should do it.
Guys, 9th floor of Macy's, go up there. There's nice couches to sit on. Go up there.
Nick gets his coat cleaned up. We meet back up.
Not really. Okay. By the way, not really. And cut to, we're not going to end this long ass story with it. I came home. I ended up using some sort of dishwasher solution. I basically got 99.6% of what was on there. I only now know what's there. I can see a faint discoloration that will bother me until that coat bursts into flames, along with me in hell. But I do know it's there. Just to let you guys know, if you ever see me with a navy blue bubble jacket on, check the hood, guys. There used to be bird shit on there.
And then we get in line for Santaland. Now, last year, we started off our adventure at Santaland, and our enthusiasm for the day sort of carried us through the line.
Well, we had just showed up there. That's where we met up, was Santaland.
That's what I'm saying. We began our day there, so we were at the height of enthusiasm, whereas this year, our height of enthusiasm was cut short because then all of a sudden we're sitting down and have to be quiet. So now we're at Santaland. We're kind of tired. Let's not forget, we've been moving around in Manhattan since 8 a.m.
Ash and I got up at 6:30. My sister got up at 5.
Yeah. So now this is like hour 9 for them, So this is hour 7 for us, hour 9 for them. Santaland's line was longer than last year because we had a 2 p.m. slot. And we noticed that this year there's just a lot of freaking kids at Santaland.
Listen, and I don't want to go on a tirade here, but when I go to Macy's to see Santa with my adult family, I don't expect to see so many kids standing around, all right?
So many kids. We realize we're the only adults there without kids.
Yeah. What's up with that? What's up with these weirdos?
What's up with that? And last year it was kind of fun that we were the only adults there without kids. This year it felt strange.
Now, this is also a theme with this group of people because this same group of people went to Disney World like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No kids involved. Yeah. That was wonderful. And I'm wondering now, we do have plans on going back to Disney World with the same group.
Yeah.
Will it be strange that we don't have kids in that?
I don't think so, because I think Disney World has more adults going to it without kids than Santaland does.
Really? It's like, why would any adults subject themselves to 2 hours worth of a Macy's line just to take a picture with Santa Claus?
Yeah.
You do start thinking about that around the 45-minute mark.
And I'd like to go ahead and just plug my Instagram here. It's Ashley_Brooke_Roberts. I did stories throughout this entire day, and if you go to my page and you go to my little story setting, this one is called Xmas Forever, so you can go through our day and see what it was like.
Yeah, she saved the story, guys. It's a hell of a story, and honestly, start listening to this podcast from the beginning of this. You guys can sync up each scene with this story. Wouldn't work out time-wise, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah, we have faith. So we get through this whole long line, and we finally get to Santa. And we forgot that Santa asks you what you want for Christmas. Like, someone in our group was like, what are we going to say when Santa asks us for Christmas? Last year, we all just said world peace. And I was like, oh, shit, I forgot we were supposed to tell Santa what we want. I start scrambling. I don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, first of all, let's back it up. I mean, they were overbooked for our time slot.
They were.
Last year, there wasn't people watching you take a picture of Santa. You got into this room all by yourself.
Santa has a cottage, and when you went into the cottage last year, there wasn't like a group of families ogling you from the entrance, which was the case this year.
It was you're feeling, self-conscious.
You're putting on a show all of a sudden.
And also it's just like a group of, two parents who have been standing there for 2 hours. They're wondering why this line's taking so long.
And then they look at these four bozos. They're like,
oh, why are these four bozos taking up time? I could be on the 9th floor taking a nap. But
so we get into Santa's cottage, and last year Santa, he thought he got a kick out of us.
Loved it. Loved us, Santa.
Yeah, last year Santa thought it was funny that there were four adults. This Santa, not so much.
He was just like, okay, hey, what's going on, y'all?
He's like, okay, so tallest people sit on the sides, and
he was like, basically, the guys sit next to me, the ladies can sit on me.
Yeah, last year the Santa was like, I got a leg for each lady. He was having fun with it.
He was having a good time with it.
This Santa, none of us liked him, and
it was a little strange. And then so I sit on one side of him. Me and my dad flank Santa. And then Ashley sits on my lap and
Santa's lap. Yeah, I was half and half. And
my sister had to sit on my dad's lap.
Your sister sat on Santa's lap and then kind of cut at your dad. Okay, so the picture, it shows that Steve is not really connected to our group.
Yeah,
because
he's way off to the side.
Gabby has like her back to him and is sitting on Santa's lap. So Steve looks like just some guy that's sitting in the picture. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on both Santa and Nick's lap. I'm covering up half of Nick. You can only really see half of Nick's head.
My head's just popping out behind her shoulder. It was not well done.
They didn't line us up right. Last year we had an elf who directed us to get the best picture. This year's elf was just like, okay.
Everybody's a little over it at this point. And so then we get to the point. We all kind of are sweating, having heart palpitations. We're starting to realize the strangeness of the situation.
Gabby felt sick. She was like, I feel like I'm going to puke.
Yeah, my sister almost passed the fuck out.
Yeah,
and
everybody's getting nauseous.
I get up and I go to move, and then all of a sudden Santa hits us with the question that we were not prepared to answer, really, which was, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas? And then I started off, and I had planned this, and it sounded way better when I planned it like a few minutes prior. But I said, Santa, this is what I wanted for Christmas, and I got it. This meeting you. And Santa looked at me. I can't really do it justice on this podcast, but if you can mix confusion and disgust. That's what Santa did with his eyes. He just kind of flinched, and like almost the reality hit him and I at the same time. And he was like, oh, Jesus, what? Oh. And then immediately kind of moved around, looked at Ashley. Asked Ashley, and Ashley said,
world peace.
Cop out. Total cop out. Santa was like, okay, great. You made it easy on both of us. Go ahead. Then my dad goes, and he had this plan for a while. My dad goes, I wanted an unlimited Macy's gift card. And then Santa went, ho, ho, ho. That was a good one. Really liked that one, which kind of pissed me off. My dad was very happy with himself, and he gets his jacket and goes. Then my sister just kind of gets up and starts to get her jacket. And then he kind of Santa grabs my sister's shoulder and goes, young lady, what do you want for Christmas?
She said, what?
And she was like, huh? What? What do you want for Christmas? And then my sister goes, this is her quote. This is what my sister says. The same thing. Santa looked at her with such confusion, like, but what do you mean? And at that point, I was fucking losing it.
I was out of the cottage.
I got up, I grabbed my jacket, I ran out. They gave me my 2018 Santaland button, and I said thanks, and I ran away. We all ran out of there in a cold sweat. We went to go look at our picture. I mean, honestly, Ash.
The same thing.
Ash, when we were waiting for the picture at the end of this thing, I mean, if you look around at our group after all that, I mean, have you seen like a bigger group of sorry sons of bitches?
We all looked upset.
We were all like
Gabby
dejected.
was like, I'm going to have nightmares about that.
Yeah, my dad had his hand in his head in his hands, like as if he was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with what's going on here. It's just, that didn't work. He immediately started. We saw the picture. He saw how distant he was from the group, how much space there was between us three and Santa, and then my dad. It was almost like you said. It was almost like he was cropped into the picture. It was. He looked at that, immediately looked up at us, and was like, "Who let this happen?" He's like, "What's going on?" He's like,
"Next year we all got to scoot in, no matter how uncomfortable." We'll gonna scoot in.
He's already planning on next year's picture. He's like, my sister was like, next year? He's like, I'm never going to do this again. Like, she was... We were all kind of like, I could not wait to leave Macy's at this point.
Yeah, same.
Also, there was another picture that they kind of got us on really quick where we were in front of a green screen.
When you're waiting in line, you get a picture in front of some fake snow.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, too. I don't know. Everybody, it kind of left us all kind of high and dry.
We were confused. We all spilled out of Macy's, and it was, in fact, snowing.
The same thing? What? Man, when I told Santa that this was I realized later when I told Santa this was, like, he was probably like, is he being serious? Like, what kind of freaks did this? Like, these adults. Anyway, so then we left there and we went to the Christmas market. At this point...
Christmas market in Union Square.
We walked all the way down to Union Square. At this point, it felt like, I don't know, 16 below zero. So cold.
No one could feel their hands.
Wild. Walked around the most crowded Union Square Christmas market.
Yeah, looked at tchotchkes.
And at this point, everybody kind of started to feel it a little bit.
Everybody, we're all looking at each other like, what have we gotten ourselves into?
All of a sudden, people started picking apart the Radio City Christmas Spectacular.
Yeah.
That's when we started hearing from my dad how disappointed he was in Ashley that he got up and peed. She got up and peed. And then this is something I didn't tell you. We lost my dad at one point in the Christmas market, and me, you, and my sister were sitting on a rock, like, waiting for him. And I called him up, and I was like, Dad, where are you? He's like, I'm over by the Citibank holiday area. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, I'll come find you. I know where that is, and I'll grab you. And, like, on the phone, he's like, yeah, I think they made this thing smaller this year. he's like, listen, all I know is an aerial view. It's supposed to be a full spiral. I think this is only half a spiral. Like, he was like upset that even the market was a little worse than last year. Which I was like, how much more do you want? They're selling wallets at every other one of these things, and beads and essential oils. You don't buy
graphic
anything.
tees.
Wild. So then we find him, and we had about 45 minutes to kill.
We're so hungry. We're so cold.
Freezing. Everybody's freezing.
All I want to do is go into Raymore and Flanagan's, which is across the street, because I'm like, we can sit on their couches. You know, I'm taking a note out of the Macy's experience and being like, let's regroup on some show furniture.
Yeah, that got struck down pretty quickly.
Immediately.
We walked over to this place called Rolf's, which is over by Pete's, which is another holiday-themed German restaurant.
It's a bar with lights.
And we walked and we looked in the window for a second, and it was packed. It was busy.
Oh, you know what? We're missing a really big, important part of all of this, which is that this particular day, December 8th and Saturday in New York City, was SantaCon. So on every corner, every 3 feet, you're dealing with a drunk Santa.
A drunk Santa,
chain
some
smoking.
drunk elves.
Yeah. Everybody's smoking. Everyone's in your way. Everyone's drunk.
There's a couple of high Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers walking around.
It was nuts.
Luckily, it was early enough before they started fighting on the streets.
Right.
So, after about 30 minutes, we walked over to Pete's. Luckily, they took us in early. It looked like everything was going to go A-okay from here on out. We got our table. We sat down. As soon as we sat down, ordered some drinks. Look at my dad. He is ghost white and sweating. We're like, what's going on? And he's like, this year, I don't know, man. There's something about this year. It's just not working out this year. And we're like, what? And he starts spiraling. Like, before we kind of got to the bottom of it.
We should have gone to Santa early.
Yeah,
we should have did the show later.
And then he started to pin whose idea it was for Radio City Christmas. He's like, all I know is that was not my idea. He's like, Nick, I think that was your idea. And I was like, all right, I'll take the blame for that one. And then he was just like, yeah, well, it was funny. Like, we're all like actually having a good time and laughing about it in the moment. And it was fun to hang out with everybody. It's good to hang out with family. And it was fun.
Yeah, the bigger picture of this day was that it was great to, spend time with everybody. And we had a lot of laughs.
Steve went right over Steve's head. Steve immediately was like, well, you win some, you lose some, guys. Too bad this day sucked.
We're like, this has actually been like a great bonding experience.
Nah, this was a bad day.
But we all got to spend time with each other.
No, this day was shitty, and I apologize to everybody.
I'll
try to do good next year.
We formed memories.
And I was like, why is this guy mental, like completely losing?
From soup to peanuts.
Yeah, soup to nuts this day, huh? From soup to nuts. And then so it was like, what's going on with this guy? And then he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And then he comes back and he goes, well, His head is in his hands again. We're like, what's going on? He's like, I think that peppermint mocha. Something's going on with that peppermint mocha in my stomach. And we're like, the peppermint mocha? What are you talking about? Then he's like, something's not right. Something's not right in my body. Something's not right. And we're like, you think it's the peppermint mocha or that parfait you ate at a deli? And he was like, could have been the parfait. Could have been the parfait. Turns out this guy's violently ill.
Yeah, severe food poisoning.
He orders a steak. Immediately, the guy comes back. He's like, by the way, could you package that steak to go? He watched us sit there and eat steaks and whatever Ashley had from ravioli. And then he had like a steak in a bag sitting in front of him, and we had to finish our meal. This guy had severe food poisoning. Mm-hmm. Finally, we leave Pete's. We had to get him in a cab, him and my sister. They went and they got their car, and my dad drove them all the way home. And my dad's been sick for a day and a half now. And so he's just at 6 p.m. It was we checked in on him at 6 p.m. the next day, and he had just kind of gotten up to try to eat his first meal. He had severe food poisoning, folks.
Don't trust the parfait.
From soup to nuts, guys. From soup to nuts. So, I mean,
but the moral of the story is that we did have a lot of fun. Everything just went wrong.
Yeah.
But we enjoyed each other's company.
I mean, it was a wild ride. Everything went wrong. And this story took us about 45 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, we don't want to leave you without some reality TV talk. So we're not even going to take a break. We'll roll right into it. Just before we started recording, Ashley and I were like, well, what are we going to watch? And I've been wanting to watch this for a while. I just haven't been able to pull that trigger. And luckily, Ashley was happy enough and nice enough to me to allow us to watch some real reality trash, folks. We watched the first episode of season 11 of... What the fuck's the name
Marriage
of that show?
Boot Camp.
Marriage Boot Camp, sorry. That's why we take a break, so we can get our bearings. Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars.
We have never watched this show before.
Season 11, folks. That's a lot of seasons.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to kind of get on board without knowing the premise or what's going on. Boy, oh boy, are they going to reference other things from other seasons. We chose this because Pauly D is on season 11 of this show, and I didn't even know what other reality stars were on there. And I was like, oh, Pauly D, big fan. Let's do this. Let's see it. And honestly,
why is Pauly D on this show, by the way?
I don't know. I wonder if he signed up for this or they filmed this before they started doing.
They must have. It has to be before the Jersey Shore reboot.
He wouldn't have needed this.
No, but they must have paid so much money for him.
I mean, for real. So. The people that are on this season of Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars. Well, we have Pauly D and Aubrey O'Day. Aubrey O'Day was from Making the Band. She was actually already on a season of Marriage Boot Camp, like
believe it or not,
third or the fifth season of that show.
Was she a pussycat doll?
I don't know if she was. I don't know if she was a pussycat doll. Whatever that band that
Fifth
they created.
Harmony?
No, she wasn't part of Fifth Harmony. I don't even remember, but she was in a group.
Yeah.
With a bunch of other women, and she became the star, the breakout star on that show, or in that show in the group, all that stuff.
She says in the intro to the show, she doesn't mention the band, but she goes, "I've been in a ton of reality shows."
So many reality shows.
Okay, folks, we took a quick break to find out which band she was in, and it was the group Danity Kane.
Yes, Danity Kane. Totally forgot about that. Not that it's of note or merit at all, but still.
We wanted to get it right.
Yeah, and she had an affair with Donald Trump Jr.
It seems to be. I mean, I just Googled her just to find out the band, and it's the headlines are... Audrey O'Day, who had an alleged affair. Aubrey had an alleged affair with Don Jr. Aubrey O'Day references Donald Trump Jr. affair in new pic.
All right. Well, so we got those two, Aubrey O'Day and Pauly D. Then we have Mama D and Ernest. Mama D is from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Now, I've never seen one episode of anything she's been in, and I gotta say, after this single episode, I might be her biggest fan.
Now, Mama D is a star. There's a reason why she's on this show. I mean, she's a bona fide star, incredibly entertaining television,
so fun.
And honestly, she was the star of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
She was the star of this episode. I feel like.
Ernest makes me laugh too.
I liked Ernest.
Ernest makes me laugh.
We learned early that she snitched on Ernest, got him him arrested, sent him to prison for 7 years.
Yeah, they were married, and she snitched on him. He came running back after 8 years.
And I love that.
Yeah. Kim Richards and Wynn. I don't know Wynn, although I am a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fan. Which,
I would say aficionado.
It's one of my main shows.
Mm-hmm.
I love that show, or loved it when she was on. She's not on anymore, and honestly, the show has taken a dip. Although it was a little sad her last couple of seasons. She had some. She was abusing some
substances,
stuff, and who knows what it was, but she was being called out on the reg on that show, and it was really kind of embarrassing. And then this guy Wynn, who I don't really know Wynn, he was never on the show.
Yeah, he's just like an older rich dude.
He's an older rich dude who's like still kind of like a playboy.
He wants to have sex with 25-year-olds is what we learned.
Yeah, and Kim is on there. Kim's looking great, honestly.
Now I'm not a housewife watcher, but I love Kim's faces.
Yeah, no, she's got great eyes.
Always
expressive
looks like
eyes.
she's in shock.
Now she was an actress when she was a young woman,
as she should have been,
and so maybe that's where she gets it from. She
Yeah.
can really tell a story with that face.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kwani and Puma from Black Ink New York.
Mm-hmm.
Black Ink's a show on VH1. I watched the first season of this show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that there was a point in which I was in New York City and I Googled where the Black Ink studio, because it's about a tattoo artist, very, very hip, cool, sexy tattoo artists in New York City. And I was like, where is it? Maybe I'll just walk by it. And it's in Harlem. It was like an hour away from where I was. I was like, I'm not going to go up there. So that's my relationship with that show. And then we have Desiree and Chris from The Bachelorette, another show that Ash and I are really not that into, unfortunately. I'm sure a lot of you stopped listening to us once you found out that we don't watch that show. Well, one day. But she was The Bachelorette. She chose him. They actually got married.
They had a kid. And they seem to be the most boring couple so far.
Well, let's go through who the couples are, because I believe this season either just wrapped or maybe they're at the very end of this season. I think it may have wrapped. So, guys, we don't know anything about the show. We don't know really how to talk about it. I guess we'll talk about what we thought about it. But let's first just go through the couples, what you thought of each couple. So what did you think of Aubrey O'Day and Pauly D? Like their dynamic together as a couple, and any other notes?
Aubrey seems to be a woman in distress. She seems to be, I think that she's had a big victim narrative in her life, seem to be coming through.
Immediately, first episode, she starts saying, no one has tortured me like my mother, like you have, which is...
Yeah, except you,
except you. And it's like, we weren't even talking about her mother, and she threw in about the fact that her mother tortures her.
Yeah.
And then Pauly's kind of looking around being like, what'd I sign up for? I don't know what I signed this up for.
Pauly D's never been in a relationship. He's a grown man.
He's 37 years old.
Now, that's a lie, right? He's 40, I'm thinking. No,
I think he's 37. Okay. I think that works.
He's never been in a relationship. She's like, there are all these rules. He presents things as I have a choice, but it's really I have no choice in the matter. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh my God, I bet Pauly D is so controlling.
I can kind of feel that too. I feel like the choices are you either change everything about you or you get your shit and get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
There's your choice. It's just like, well, I don't want to leave. So, yes, Pauly seems like he has a sense of humor. I was very interested in seeing him on this show.
Yeah.
Because he really does not open up on Jersey Shore. At all. Especially on these new ones. And honestly, Ash and I are about 12 episodes back on the second season of the Family Reunion. One day we'll catch up. But he's just kind of like the guy who's getting the party started. He's the
soundbite.
He's the soundbites. He's alleviating all of the stress in the room.
He takes the pressure out of the room.
He sets a lot of pranks up. He's a lot of fun. He's got a fake showmance with...
He's everything except for deep.
Yes. And so I was like, oh, man, is he actually going to open up on this thing? We're going to actually find out a little bit about Pauly D. And I'm actually excited to find out because he does seem to be kind of submissive to this process so far, right?
Well, he's definitely going through the protocol right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we got Mama D and Ernest. We spoke a little bit about them just before, but anything else?
Them.
But what about their relationship
They
together?
seem to be, so far I would say, they seem to be the most in love.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
The Most in Love. Now, their whole storyline seems to be that Ernest is, and he said this, is not sexually attracted to Mama D.
Yeah.
Needs prescription pills to get his you-know-what up. And Mama D does not like this, wants her to sort of take hold of her and wants him to, treat her
to be
like
roughed up a little bit.
Yeah, she wants it. And
she wants a pounding, as we say in the audience.
In the
business.
What friggin' audience are you sitting in? Jesus Christ. My God, I started sweating when I heard that. And then, so, as we say in the business, what business? Surely not podcasting. Anyway, Ernest, by the way, is kind of making me laugh. I enjoy Ernest.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like I'd want to be friends with Ernest.
Me too.
I don't know. Ernest is probably my favorite person on this show so far. We got Kim Richards and Wynn.
I like him. Don't like this guy.
Wynn is a slime ball, kind of.
Could not be more unlikable.
I really don't. I hope they don't end up kind of going to the altar together.
I hope they break up.
What that is like at the very end, like you kind of, do like some sort of what looks to be like a marriage ceremony. And I'm not really into it. I like Kim. A lot of this episode, she talked about her deceased ex-husband.
Yeah, Monty.
Monty, who we saw quite a bit of in Beverly Hills.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Monty would come over. Monty was very sick. He had cancer. She kind of took care of him. He would come over to her house and they would kind of just hang out. They seemed to be like totally in love. Like, you know what I mean? But not really. And it kind of turned into somebody, her kind of being a little bit maybe of a caretaker at the end rather than... Super sad. Totally, I think has something to do with her substance abuse, and her dealing with a lot of that stuff. Plus, she had famous, I think famous parents, and her sister and her were child stars, and a lot of makings for somebody who's kind of screwed up a bit. She spiraled, by the way, Ash, after she was kind of on the show. She, I believe, got caught stealing from a hotel. Oh, it's pretty bad. Anyway, now what about Kwani and Puma? Kwani and Puma.
I like them.
I like them too.
Yeah, I like this couple.
Puma is soundbite worthy.
100%.
He seems really kind of like a funny guy who's able to sort of be relatable on TV.
Agreed.
So far, what I'm seeing from Kwani is a lot of side eye to Puma.
I like her because I feel like she's a good companion for him. Like in a comedy duo, like she's just calling him on his shit all the time.
Completely, immediately calling. Their problems seem to be that it's a little weird, sort of. Puma's problem with Kwani, which is like they got married a few years ago and she won't take his name.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a little antiquated. It's just like, well, kind of get over it, I guess. You guys are married, but I don't know. It seemed to be important to Puma, and I don't want to pry. Your things are your things.
And she's like, I don't want to take your name because I'm already just only associated with as like your significant other.
Is that true? Is that what's going on
remember
here?
It said like welcome to Puma and his guest in the room and all of that.
You're right. Puma also is having the issue with Kwani calling him a bitch. Calling him a bitch.
Yeah, he's like, she likes to demasculate me when she's mad at me.
Is it emasculate?
Emasculate, thank you.
Demasculate is funny. And then you got Desiree and Chris, which...
Who are they?
Who knows?
Why are we interested in them?
I guess because she was on The Bachelorette.
Here's my question for you, Nick. Do I find this couple boring... just because there's like a bland white couple with brown hair? You could be a white couple with brown hair and have a lot of fun out there. Why are they so boring immediately?
Here's the thing. They immediately kind of felt stuck up in a way.
Oh, you're right. They do feel a little rigid.
They were kind of like,
they have a rigidity to them.
They don't seem like they're ready for this type of TV.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
they think they were from a respectable show.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't think so. And I assume that maybe she kind of thinks of herself because she's a bachelorette and that's such a franchise.
Yeah.
Kind of thinks very highly.
Royalty, reality television royalty.
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 But then, you show up and then, Kim Richards is there and she was
queen.
Not, she was a queen at a point. definitely more famous than Desiree.
Yeah.
And Mama D, probably more famous than Desiree. I mean, Mama D is kind of a household name depending on what type of reality you watch. And then all of a sudden, Pauly D walks in at the end and kind of shits on everybody.
Wow.
By the way, how great when the entrances, everybody's like, I kind of recognized you. As soon as Pauly D walks in at the end, everybody's like, whoa, holy shit, this is going to be a good season.
Yeah, Mama D's like, the new Jersey Shore is here.
Yeah, she got up and toasted him.
Yeah.
And it was...
Everybody was excited.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun. And then, so in this first episode, we get to know the couples a little bit. We kind of find out what we explained to you, what their issues were. And then it was kind of a prom-themed episode. Everybody got a corsage.
This show seems to be based on elaborate sort of scenarios that they're going to be putting the
drills.
Drills, that's what they call them. That they're going to put the couples through. So this was a prom. They dressed up. They got superlatives, prom superlatives, like biggest train wreck, most likely to leave first. And they took prom photos while getting a deep talking to by our two counselors, Dr. Ish and a woman whose name I don't remember.
Was her Mrs. V or something? Yeah. Oh, Dr. V.
Dr. V. She said something
Dr.
I found
Ish.
very strange where she goes, I have 25 years combined experience in psychology. What does that mean, 25 years combined experience? Wouldn't you just say 25
here,
years?
4 here, 6 months there.
Just say 25 years combined. What does that mean? Does that mean that she did like, she thinks she did a year's worth of work in 6 months? So she's like, it was actually, technically it would be a year of work, but I did it in 6 months. What is that? I'm confused.
I don't. Maybe she counts her schooling.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. I wasn't vibing with the doctors. Don't know him yet that much.
I like Dr. Ish's suit.
Yeah, he's a cool suit. So so it was very prom, all this prom stuff. Immediately they go into the next room. They all have to get into like 80s prom gear.
Yeah, they got a bad band
and then,
lip syncing in
the
corner.
Had a prom band lip syncing, and then they had a song, like a sound-alike song that they put the words up for each couple.
Yeah.
That was about the couple.
Yeah.
And they had to dance with one another in front of everybody. And very embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. And they had corsages that represented their issues.
Yes.
So like Pauly D's was like a little black book.
Yeah.
Aubrey's was like a ball and chain because she always feels like a burden in her relationship.
Yeah. Ernest's was like a sunflower with a bunch of like Viagra in the center.
Because he has erectile dysfunction
ED.
Is what
ED.
we learned
Yikes.
on this episode. While they got freaky on the dance floor. Yeah. And then someone was like, I don't want to see my grandma getting freaky. Well, who was that?
I think Puma may have said something about 50-year-olds getting down.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, Mama D put her tongue in his ear.
It got sexual. It's
and
funny.
Let's just put it this way. Mama D's corsage had a whiskey bottle on it.
Oh, yeah. We learned she's an alcoholic.
And she drank. She drank.
Got drunk.
She got fucking drunk.
This episode ends with them fist fighting, and that was the cliffhanger.
Yeah,
they're like, slapping each other in their room, and then it's like, tune in next week.
And it's a good beginning. And I'm going to ask you this, Ash, as I ask every one of our guests. Yeah. Basically, just one that we had once.
Julia Johns. Check that episode out.
Yeah. Ash.
Wait, has Julia ever done this show?
Yes. She was on our Very Cavallari episode.
Oh, right. Natasha also. We did that too. Anyway, what's your question,
My
Nick?
question for you, Ash, is will you continue to watch this show?
Yeah, let's go watch the second ep right now.
I know. I kind of want to watch the second ep right now.
I'm down.
All right. Well, we'll let you know what we think on future episodes of Reality Blow. I almost choked. Reality Blows. Folks, that has been the show. I do want to let everybody know that on Wednesday, even though the challenge is over, Wednesday morning, afternoonish, check your feeds because Ashley and I will have watched the first part of CT Gets Married. We are going to recap the 2-part series of CT Gets Married because, come on, CT Gets Married. We got to see this thing. And so we are going to have like a nice discussion recap on those. So make sure that you continue to tune in and please
follow us on Twitter at RealityBlowsPod. Email us at RealityBlowsPodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Ashley B. Roberts. You can find Nick on Twitter and on Instagram at NickMaritato. That's MARITATO. And like I said, go check out my Insta stories. It's called Xmas Forever. And my Instagram handle is Ashley_Brooke_Roberts. And please don't forget to rate us 5 stars on the Apple Podcast app.
And as always, may the marriage counseling fix your fucked up TV marriages.
And may Pauly D be cool.
Good night.
Bye.